Have you ever been loudly, publicly, embarrassingly wrong before?
I just think it's incredibly unlikely that they bring her back at this point.
Yeah, that was me. Back in September of last year when I started this channel by publishing 4,000 words of cope in a video essay about Tingyun's death and funeral in Honkai Star Rail. She was my favorite character, and I was more than a little butthurt about how the game treated her. This video was received somewhat controversially, which we'll get into shortly. Fast forward to just last Friday when Hoyoverse drip marketed a new playable version of Tingyun, Fugue. This comes right on the heels of a scene at the end of version 2.5 where we hear Tingyun's voice for the first time since she died. Well, actually we heard her that one time in March 7th Dream, but you get the point. Tingyun is back. She's going to be in the story and playable soon. Given that she's coming back, and that I got some stuff wrong in that video, I wanted to revisit some of my points from back then. Star Rail has really settled into itself now, so it's worth revisiting the character death discussion. You don't need to watch the old one. Actually, please stay and keep watching this one instead. I'll summarize the main points here. In that video, I asserted the following. 1. Character death does not fit well in Star Rail because of its generally upbeat and space comedy tone. 2. Character death in gacha games hits harder because there's an expectation of ongoing content releases featuring the characters we like. 3. Using dead or misplaced characters hurts immersion because they don't belong in our adventuring party. And last, of course, was that Tingyun herself would not be coming back. I saw her death as permanent. I will not be discussing any leaks, but to cover these points, I do need to talk about all the story content we've been through up to the end of 2.5, so this is your spoiler warning if you aren't caught up. With that out of the way, let's get into it. Easily the biggest problem commenters had with my first video was my take that character death didn't fit with Honkai Star Rail's space comedy tone, that Tingyun's death was out of place, and that we shouldn't expect character deaths to be commonplace going forward. One well-liked comment read, HSR takes Honkai Impact 3rd's approach of having this nice shiny coat of happy waifus painted on the outside to lure unsuspecting fools in before revealing they just got jebaited with agony and despair. Well, despite my frustrations with how they handled Tingyun, I did keep playing Star Rail, so I was able to experience the heartwarming story of Penacony and the rather less uplifting story of Hule on the Xianzhou. These story arcs have given some very mixed signals about playable character death in Honkai Star Rail. Penacony started a little darker, with a total of 4 fake-out character deaths occurring throughout the story. Firefly, Robin, Aventurine, and Sunday were all killed at various points in the story, and the player base was really kept in the dark about what their ultimate fate would be. While this caused some consternation with fans of these characters during the events of the story, everyone wound up being safe and sound in the end. Even Firefly, who had literal in-universe death flags, subverted them all, and instead got a big happy romantic fireworks show ending. So Penacony actually did turn out to be a heartwarming and uplifting story in the end, right? Character death still doesn't fit? Except for the fact that Penacony also had Gallagher and Misha, who didn't really die, but never really existed to begin with. They were both fictional beings of sorts, Gallagher a creation of a history fictionologist, and Misha a memory zone meme, both operating with the purpose of helping the Astral Express crew find the Watchmaker's secrets. Their missions thus complete, they disappeared, or dissolved back into the Memoria. These two characters are functionally dead right now. They won't send you messages or appear on the Express, and the devs even implemented an alternate method of getting players the jades they would have normally received from those mechanics, which implies they aren't planning on bringing them back in those forms. So, at the end of Penacony, it did feel like devs had decided characters can be gone and dead for good, and that the tone would fluctuate between space comedy and tragedy. I actually felt more confident that Tingyun would not be coming back after Misha and Gallagher disappeared. I figured and accepted that character death would be in the cards going forward, except for Zhao Qiu. At the end of the War Dance arc, Zhao Qiu is wounded near to death and poisons himself in an act of self-sacrifice, so that when Hule drinks his blood, he also consumes the poison, thus giving us a chance to beat the Borisin Warhead in combat. Zhao Qiu's struggle with Hule throughout the whole arc is gripping. The violent tone of the Borisin's resurgence on the Luofu, and Zhao Qiu's dogged dedication to Fei Xiao made his self-sacrifice feel believable, and his death well-earned within the story. But at the end of it all, he survives, which calls into question the game's willingness to actually kill off its characters, at least the valuable 5-star ones. So in a way, my viewpoint has changed. Playable character death can totally occur in HSR, but I still don't think it'll be a regular feature because we are playing a gacha game, where the stakes are always higher on the banners than they are within its story. In gacha games, characters are the content that players spend money or time to acquire. In return, players expect to get lovable characters that they can enjoy using in the game for a long time to come. Because these are live service games, players also look forward to seeing their favorites appear in subsequent story updates. As I said last year, this is one of the biggest reasons Tingyun's death was a bummer to me. With her being gone, I couldn't look forward to seeing her in any events or story updates. And look, nothing against Sushang, she's great. But the whole Arm Alley event would have been perfectly suited for our silver-tongued Foxian. This is a point I stand by from back then. I think it holds up well. Everybody wants to see their favorite characters get more screen time, which is a precious limited resource in these games. No matter how well earned or justified a character's death may be, nobody wants to see their favorite characters die. When Penacony's cast kept getting picked off, players were really worried about what would happen to them, and if they would even come back at all. Misha might be overlooked as a playable character by most of Star Rail's audience, but it's worth remembering that every character is somebody's favorite character, and lots of Misha's fans were really excited about the prospect of him joining the Express and becoming a regular presence in the game. To them, his fate's a total letdown. The developers work hard to make every character look good, give them likable personalities and endearing stories, so that players are more likely to swipe that card to guarantee them. Some players, whales, will even swipe a lot to prove their dedication to the character, which is the major motivation people use to pull constellations and duplicates of their signature light cones. Seriously, some CN bro pulled like 100 Acheron light cones for no reason other than that he really liked her. The whole system is built around monetizing attachment to characters. This is Hoyo's primary revenue stream. There's a lot of money on the line, and killing off said characters introduces considerable risk into the equation. By killing off a character, Hoyo risks upsetting the very audience they designed that character to appeal and sell to. Maybe 4 stars matter less to the bottom line, but every single 5-star makes Hoyo tens of millions of dollars on their release. Even a 1% reduction in sales represents hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. It's a pretty big risk to take when it's entirely avoidable. This is not to say that they'll never kill off a 5-star character in Star Rail, but they've had a few opportunities that they could have done so now, where it would have fit well within the story, and they didn't. If you think they should have followed through on any of those character deaths, let me know in the comments. My new prediction is that Mortal Consequences will be limited to 4 stars, or unique NPCs like Cocolia. If they do end up going after a 5-star character, I think it will be a rare and extreme situation. Himiko's death in Honkai Impact 3rd came years into the game, and was pivotal in Kiana's character development. It also came after years of selling various Himiko battlesuits, and she never got a new release after her final lesson. And guess what? Not everyone was happy with Himiko's fate at the time either. There were many players who could not accept her death and wanted to see her come back, just like how many Tingyun fans responded to her death. Unfortunately for them, Himiko's fans in HI3 were not so lucky as us Tingyun fans. And this brings us to my most wrong declaration, that Tingyun wouldn't be coming back. While this prediction partially stemmed from the assume the worst but hope for the best approach, I also thought that the writing required to bring her back would be bizarre. Hoyo has to solve for the fact that she's a character we never met, held a funeral for, and also launched all her belongings out to space. Oops. It's too early to know exactly how they're going to handle this, but we might be able to get some hints based on some limited in-game dialogue and her drip marketing post, which has some lore crumbs in it. As a quick review, the Tingyun we originally met on the Lawfu was Phantilia in disguise. Fei Xiao found the wreckage of Tingyun's ship with no survivors, but noted that Ron Mei had been there first. At the end of the 2.5 story, we hear Ron Mei ask Tingyun if she remembers her name, and we hear Tingyun respond in the affirmative. So we at least now know that Phantilia attacked Tingyun's ship and that Ron Mei found her. Seems reasonable so far. Since she's getting a new playable form and design, we can also assume that this encounter will have had a substantial impact on her character. She's not just the exact same Tingyun as before. Her new look is gorgeous. It features many delightfully fluffy tails, plus a number of design elements in common with Phantilia's boss form, notably the lotus brand on her shoulder, her hairpins, and the large lotuses similar to the ones Phantilia fights with. These design elements hint at some permanent mark that the Lord Ravager has left on her, which seems to be corroborated by the text in her drip marketing. The quote they picked was interesting, because they always come from the character profiles in-game. We can confidently expect that this is a recorded voice line Tingyun will say. Benefactor, though the cosmos stretches far and wide, and the stars fill the sky, as long as we hold each other in our thoughts, there will always be a chance for reunion. This line seems like it's being spoken to the player, which makes it a little confusing. Reunion implies that we met Tingyun, but we didn't. At the time I made that last video, it felt odd to have a character we never met and whose status was legally dead be in our rosters. It had previously felt believable for the characters we met to be traveling with us, if only temporarily, but immediately following version 1.3, Tingyun's funeral patch, Jingliu released. Jingliu's entire story was told from Dan Heng's perspective. The Trailblazer, that is, the player's avatar, didn't meet her at all before she and Locha were arrested and locked in a cage for who knows how long. But we still got to roll Jingliu and add her to our party. Players who got Locha can still use him too, even though they probably don't anymore. And you know what? The game is better for the fact that they were in it and playable when they were. The characters and factions we meet in Star Rail continue to develop on their own and advance their own goals, even after the Astral Express departs for the next world. Belobog is rebuilding as the Eternal Freeze winds down. The Xianzhou Law Fu has been embroiled in political turmoil since allowing multiple crises to start. The IPC is deploying its human resources to extract maximum value from every investment opportunity, or world, we encounter them in. We're about to see how Penacony has changed since freeing it from the Order's grip, and the Stellaron Hunters are working hard to set up the game's conclusion in another 5 or 6 years. It makes Star Rail's universe and characters feel more alive, and it wouldn't be possible if the game was worried about ensuring that every character was always available to travel with the Express crew. So, while I do hope we get to meet the real Tingyun when she comes back, the game can sidestep the writing problem by just not having us meet her from the Trailblazer's perspective. And if they do want us to meet her, it really wouldn't be that hard to hand-wave away any weirdness. Maybe, due to her link with Vantilia, Tingyun actually has the memories of the events of the Ambrosial Arbor Crisis, so she does remember us. Or, it's as simple as stating that she's heard so much about the Astral Express, and that she appreciates what we did for the Law Fu. It's pretty much the norm that everybody wants to be our friends in this game anyways. I still don't really like the way that Tingyun's character was handled in the early Law Fu's story. She could have used more time for players to come to know and like her, and she suffered from the early Xianzhou's somewhat messier writing. Her role frankly could have been played by an NPC with little functional change to the story, except for the fact that if she had been an NPC, the twist wouldn't have been nearly as surprising or impactful. Players rightfully interpret the bland NPCs of Star Rail and Genshin as less important than the rest of the cast. Sometimes you need a unique design to really make a character work, especially if you want players to care about what happens to them. While not everyone cared about Tingyun by the time her neck snapped, some of us sure did, and there's a lot of hype around her return. Whatever problems anyone may have had with Tingyun's fate in the story to begin with, her return and the continuation of her story is a chance to tie it all up and make it work. There's a lot of interesting hanging plot threads that bringing her back will now help explore. Tingyun Fugue's design looks great. Her story promises to be interesting, and I can't wait to see what's next for her. Here's hoping the year-long wait was worth it.